see what we can do with that hip range of motion as we go. Let's start with a wide leg founder. Legs pretty wide, and really pay attention to that outside edge of the foot being parallel and grabbing into the ground. Cool. Chest up, big decompression. 1 or 2 big decompression breaths to start this exercise and really lift up as hard as you can. Start grabbing the ground with your feet. Let's anchor your legs in just a little bit. Make sure the knees are bent and make sure they're not collapsing, but let's pull pretty hard from the get-go of this exercise. Pull the hips back, and let's go ahead and open up, and then just right away bring the arms forward and the hips back. We're going to warm you up for this whole routine with about 30 seconds of breathing in this position. All right? Every inhalation is going to be as big as you can get, and you're going to go a little deeper. And we'll start the warm-up by lifting the arms 3 or 4 times, just a little harder, sort of pulsing some tenseness, some tone into that lower back a bit more. Very good. One more. Hold right there. Take a big deep breath right here. Let's take those arms all the way back, open them up, big breath. Then one more time, reach the arms forward, pull the hips back, and let's take it all the way down to a forward fold. Good. Once your arms are on the ground, I want you to try to inflate the back side of your rib cage here really big, and let your head relax a little. All of your weight is pulling backwards, like somebody is literally taking your hips and pulling you backwards. Don't let them. Grab the ground with your hands, grab the ground with your feet. Let's add a couple little dorsiflexion movements alternating into the feet. 1 foot at a time, pressing the heel into the ground, lifting up the toes. Good. Let's do 2 more of those on each foot. 2 more dorsiflexion motions on each foot. All right. Now I want you to stay in this forward fold for another 15 seconds. While you're in this forward fold, you're going to try to expand the rib cage and suck your belly off of your thighs as much as you can. So 10 more seconds of doing that. Expand the ribs really big, pull the hips back, and then suck the belly in away from your thighs. Let's walk the hands back towards the shins. We're going to pull the chin back, lift the spine, lift the chest. Once your lower back feels stable and your weight is back into the posterior chain, we'll open up the arms. We're going to go right back into that wide leg founder. We're going to push really hard for another 15 seconds. Arms forward, hips back, pull as deep as you can, and let's leverage those arms straight up and hold right there. Pull the chin back, 10 seconds, really tough. Your legs should be on fire right now, but it's going to help us with the next exercises we're going to do. All right, 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and stand up, Dustin. Shake that off for a second. Now we're going to go right back into the wide founder, but only as the setup to 2 big exercises, the windmill and the gorilla lift. Let's practice those. Let's start wide. Decompress, get your spine long. Pull the hips back to load the posterior chain, and now we're just going to reach the arms forward, pull the hips back, continue all the way down to the forward fold. Now, for both of these exercises, we have to walk our hands underneath our chest or underneath our chin. You don't want to be reaching forward quite so hard. Once your hands are reaching up, you pull the spine away from the ground, pull the chin back to stabilize, and you make sure your weight is way back behind you. If you need a prop for this, you need a prop for this. You have to use it. So grab that. If you don't, pull the hips back, or if you are using a prop, same thing applies. Back is straight, chest is high, and we're going to start with the right arm lifting into a windmill. Rotating all the way up, looking for the wingspan to increase here. Dustin's really good about this. He's got goofy long arms. Really, really big wingspan here, as big as you can get. You're not trying to pull backwards to rotate further. You're just trying to get big. All right? Let's go about 5 more seconds in that position. Pull the hips back, and the left adductor, when that right arm comes up, that left adductor is just burning in the stretch right now. Pull back down to the center. Pull the hips back a little deeper. Let's go left arm coming up. So same thing here. His body is really strong. He's not dropping his weight into that forward arm. He's instead lifting, put all of his emphasis on lifting and expanding the entire torso, making it as long as possible, making that wingspan as long as possible. 5 more seconds in this position. Again, pulling the hips back the whole time. When that left arm comes up, the right adductor is just on fire. Big deep breath. Bring that arm back down, and we're going to stay in a forward fold here. So go right back into a forward fold. The arms go forward, the hips go back, and elongate your spine for 10 or 15 seconds here. Let's take 2 deep breaths. Fill in the rib cage. Pull the stomach off the thighs. This is a very active position. 1 last breath. And now we pull into the gorilla lifts. And there's a very big difference between the gorilla lift and the windmill. You have to drop the hips and spread the knees and keep all of your weight back in the gorilla lift. It's almost like the deepest, widest squat you can hold with your feet facing forwards. Once all of the weight is back, will you show them the weight back? Just take your hands up off the ground and show them where the weight is held. All of the weight stay down, fingertips kind of brushing the ground as the left arm reaches up in front of you and souping it. You see how Dustin's palm is lifting upwards? It's a very important part of this. Pull the arm back down. Let's do 3 on each arm. You're going to alternate back and forth. Every time that arm reaches up, your whole torso is trying to go with it. You're trying to expand your whole upper body as big as possible. If this exercise is easy, you're doing it wrong, I promise. Work really hard in this and keep pulling your hips deeper. Keep pushing the knees wider. Trying to really get a lot of range of motion in the hip joints here. Take a deep breath in. Walk back to that forward fold. Pull the hips back as far as you can. We're going to go right back to the back side of the body, stretching here, lengthening the posterior chain. After those exercises, you should feel totally different than when you started this workout. Much bigger, much broader, much looser, probably more tired. 10 more seconds in this forward hold. We're really trying to elongate here. 2 breaths. Fill in the rib cage, pull the weight back. All right. 1 more wide founder here. Hands to the shins, chest up, chin back. Take nice slow motion here coming up. Brace the lower spine, open up the arms. We're going to go right back to that wide founder position. We've got about 2 minutes left on this initial sequence of this workout. Keep working hard for me here. Wide founder for another 5 seconds. The back of your body's fried right now. I know. Keep going. Back down to the forward fold. We got 1 more windmill to get to. We got to keep working on that rotation and on the length of the adductors. Such important muscles. So your hands are going to walk under your chest. Your chin is going to pull back, making sure that the lower back is braced and flat here, not rounded. The right arm is going to reach up, and as that right arm reaches up to the windmill, opens up, we're going for big, big, expansive wingspan here, and the hips are actively pulling back as hard as they can the whole time. 5 more seconds on that. Right arm up, left adductor stretching. Come back down. Pull your hips back a little deeper, pull your chin back a little more. Left arm comes up. As soon as that left arm comes up, we're going to feel it going into that right adductor, the right thigh. I want you to make sure you feel that stretch. If you don't, try pulling your hips back even deeper. Make sure your lower back is braced, and if you need a prop, get a prop and do this the right way. Hips back a little deeper. Good. Perfect. Left arm down. So this is the last really important come up from this forward fold position. So go to the forward fold, pull the hips back, elongate the posterior chain as well as you can. 5 more seconds right there. And then after those 5 seconds, you're going to walk your hands back to your shins, chin back, chest up, and we're going to hold that last little wide leg founder for another few seconds here. Open up the chest, bring the arms forward into a counterbalance, and let's lift the arms with no other movement in the body as high as they can go. Keep the chin back. Don't let your chest jump forward. 3, 2, 1. Stand all the way up. Drop your arms, and everybody take 10 seconds and just relax. Take a couple deep breaths. Turn around. Stop looking at me for a second. Shake everything off. Good. Yeah. Time for a lunge decompression. We're going to pull everything back towards the center of the body. Right leg forward, left leg back. Both feet facing the same direction. We're going straight up as high as we can with our torso. So let's go. Measuring sticks, thumbs at the rib cage, pinkies at the pelvis. Big deep breath or 2 there. Fill in the back of the lungs. Let's bring the arms open and let's go straight up in front of us. Really exaggerating that scooping motion with the hands coming upward towards each other as they lift. Reach as high as you can. We're going to go about 30 to 45 seconds on each leg. I want you actively anchoring the legs together, taking that front leg and really pulling it back towards the back leg. And then the opposite motion at the back leg. So it's like a scissor coming towards each other. As deep a breath as you can, lifting your whole body, literally like I'm standing there and lifting you up like this. Create as much upward force as possible for another 5 seconds or so. Squeeze in really tight. Lift up as high as you can. Maybe add 1 or 2 little pulses on that back ankle just to create a little more motion. Good. And now go ahead and stand all the way and we'll switch sides. Left leg forward, right leg back. It's the same thing here. After all that big wide range of motion stuff, the big wide founders, the gorilla lifts, things like that, we got to tighten up the body towards the center again. Chin back, open up. Good. Let's open up the arms. Spread the palms, spread the wrist. Use the elbows to lever the chest open. Slowly scoop those arms up. Reach as high as you can. I know you've been doing this for a little while now, but I still want to remind you, when those arms come back in a lunge decompression or a standing decompression, they don't go too far. Show them that real quick, Dustin, when the arms just go too far. Your head tries to reach forward, not what we're going for. Arms forward to the nose, nose pulling back. 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake that off. Relax. We got to start our first set of squats. So we're going to go sets of 8 squats with a couple little exercises in between. The first set, real simple, real basic. Feet are about little more than shoulder width apart. You're just pressing everything away from you. The hips go back, the arms go forward, and we're simply counterbalancing in a squat 8 times. Perfect. Nice and slow. Same speed up, same speed down. It's as if your hips are pulling towards the ground as your arms reach away. Keep your chest high and your chin back so the spine stays stable. Your weight is held through your heels in these squats. Every time Dustin presses up, it's going through the back side of his body, especially the glutes. If you're feeling this exercise mostly in your quads by the knees, you got to get your weight back further. Let's go right leg forward, left leg back. We're going to go into a woodpecker. You're going to load that posterior chain, and every time we do a squat series in between these exercises, you're going to feel more of the back side of your body participating. So we're going to hinge at that right hip, open up the arms, and let's take the arms straight forward. This first one is just going to be an isometric woodpecker hold, loading that right leg from the heel to the hip to the lower back, pulling the chin back and just holding for about 3 deep breaths, 15 seconds or so. Good. Go ahead and open up the arms, come back to the center. Let's go to the left leg. Nice. Chest up. Get as big as you can here. Really broad, really wide. Lift the rib cage. Hinge the hip joint. Make sure that the only motion that occurs is at the hip joint right here, not the knee traveling forward at all. The knee stays bent, but it doesn't go any further than that. Hold that. Nice isometric here. We're going to lock into the posterior chain on that front leg. We're going to work really hard to just stabilize our whole weight of our torso at this back of the body here. All right? 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the arms open. Stand up. Let's go another set of 8 squats. This time I want you to go just a little slower on the way down and a little faster on the way up. Good. A little recoil on the way up. Almost like you're loading a spring on the way down and then pulling everything together really tight to stand up. Practice a little bit of that anchoring work that we were talking about earlier in the workouts. Grab the ground with the feet and see if you can almost squeeze in and out and see what that does to the hip joints as you're doing this. Give a little inward traction as you pull your hips down. Give a little outward expansion as you press your hips up. Let's go right leg forward, left leg back. So we're going to do woodpecker rotations now. We're working pretty hard on isolating the glutes in this exercise program from here on out, all right? We're going to get that right foot forward, we're going to decompress, and we're going to hinge forward. We're going to make sure that the hip joint is starting our motion for the woodpecker rotation. So pay a lot of attention to how Dustin's right hip is going to pull back to rotate him to the right. And we're not going to go back and forth. We're just going to hold for about 20 or 30 seconds. It's going to get really tough when you reach a little further forward and then a little further up. You try to hold right there. Give me 10 seconds right there. If 90% or more of the contraction and muscular tension in your body is not held on that right glute and right butt muscle, you're not doing it right. We got to find that right glute and right butt muscle to hold the weight of the body in this position. Come back to the center, let the arms drop, and go ahead and switch legs. Left leg forward, right leg back. Long stance, chest high, hips squared. Again, pay attention to Dustin's hips here. He's going to hinge just like a normal woodpecker. The arms are going to open and they're going to go forward to counterbalance. But as he rotates, it starts at the hip joint and his spine follows that movement. Very important. Most of the weight, if not all of it, is on this this left foot forward. Chest up high. Hold right there. 5 more seconds. Lift a little bit, push a little bit further. Give yourself that extra little range of motion and challenge yourself. Let the arms drop. Come back to the center, stand up. A couple more little exercises here. 1 more round of squats. So this time, instead of speeding it up at all, we're just going to slow down the whole thing. About 4 seconds down, 4 seconds up, and I want you all to pay close attention to your movement. You're keeping the weight into the heels throughout this whole thing, counterbalancing with the arms going forward, reaching as far as they can as the hips go down. It's not just a hinge, though. You're not doing a hinge. You're using as much of the leg and as much of the glutes as possible to support you on the way down and to support you on the way up. Keep your spine long, keep your chest high. Very good. We got 1 more round. of woodpecker rotations. We're going to go a little deeper into those. Cool. Perfect. Let's go right foot forward, left foot back. Take a big deep breath, shake it out, get into the stance, and get into the stance strong. We're almost done with this one. Keep working hard for me. Pressure through the heel. Let's bend that front knee just a little more, right there. It doesn't go forward of the ankle, it never does, but we're going to bring it up close to it. As we hinge forward, let's take the arms forward. Before we do anything else, I want you to leverage as high as you can up off that back ankle. Notice Dustin's pointing his heel all the way up now, and his weight went forward and up. If he lifts the arms and rotates even just about 4 to 6 inches, it's tough. Try to stay in this position for 10 more seconds. I want you to take 2 of the deepest breaths you can. A little bigger at the rib cage. Challenge that right glute as much as you're able to. Press the right heel into the ground. Come back to the center. Let the arms drop. Go ahead and switch legs. Good. Chest up. Decompress. Go ahead and hinge forward. Good. Bring the arms forward. And again, we're going to leverage that weight all the way up and forward so that all of the weight goes over that front heel. So press that back heel up. Good. Rotate out to the left, beginning at the hip joint. Hold that for another 10 seconds. 2 forceful deep breaths. Right into the rib cage there. 1 more, big. Come back to the center. Let the arms relax. Let's bring the feet together, and we're going to finish this routine with a simple standing decompression. Toes touching, heels separated. Big deep breath. Find those measuring sticks, and let's put all of our focus into the length of our rib cage off of our pelvis here. Widen the rib cage as much as you can. In fact, go ahead and shrug your shoulders as high as you can. Just shrug all the way up, and then breathe into the space that you make there. A couple breaths, and then you can let your shoulders settle on that nice large platform you just decompressed into. Let the arms open. Let's take the hands straight up in front of you. Right there. Perfect. You're going to hinge ever so slightly, not a full founder, just a little decompression, and we're going to go 5 slow, calming deep breaths. 4 or 5 seconds in, 4 or 5 seconds out. Everything is reaching upward. Your body's trying as hard as it can to stay toned, but recognize that you're tired and start to let yourself come down a little bit. Let the arms come down. Before you break this position, just let the arms come down. Stay tall and take a couple deep breaths here. Let's go into that hip hugger position for a couple seconds. Big deep breath right here. Really big. Find that tone on the inside of the arm and the upper back. Hold the chin back. 2 more breaths. Squeeze the legs a little tighter. Anchor the legs a little bit harder. Lengthen the back of the neck. 1 last time, reach the arms up. High as they can go. And then let everything relax. Go ahead and relax. Perfect. Nice work. Keep trying this one. If this was too tough for you, keep trying. Keep trying. Keep trying. It'll get easier.
Very sweaty, my friends. Good work.